12 noon. The offices of the Freeman's Journal and the Evening Telegraph, Abbey Street.
Gentlemen of the press.
There it is, Red Murray said. Alexander Keyes. Just cut it out, will you, Mr. Bloom said, and I'll take it round to the telegraph office. Long shears sliced out the advertisement from the newspaper. Of course, if he wants a paragraph, we can do him one. Right, Mr. Bloom said, taking the cut square. I'll rub that in. I'll go through the printing works. He passed along the reverberating boards, thumping, thumping. Through a line of clanking drums, he made his way towards Nanetti's reading closet. Hines here, too. Count of the funeral, probably.
With unfeigned regret it is, we announce the dissolution of a most respected Dublin burgess.
This morning, the remains of the late Mr. Patrick Dignam. Machines. Smash a man to atoms if they got him caught.
How a great daily organ is turned out.
Mr. Bloom halted behind the foreman's spare body, admiring a glossy crown. Strange he never saw his real country. Ireland, my country. Councillor Nanetti, member for College Green. The machines clanked in 3/4 time. Thump, thump, thump. "Well, get it into the evening edition, Councillor," Hines said. Mr. Bloom stood in his way. "If you want to draw, the cashier is just going to lunch," he said, pointing backward with his thumb. "Thanks, old man," Hines said. He hurried on eagerly towards the Freeman's Journal office. 3 bob I lent him in Mars. 3 weeks. 3rd hint.
We see the canvasser at work.
Mr. Bloom laid his cutting on Mr. Nanetti's desk. "Excuse me, Councillor," he said. "This ad, you see, Keyes, you remember." Mr. Nanetti considered the advertisement a while and nodded. "He wants it for July," Mr. Bloom said. 2 cross keys here, a circle, then here the name. Alexander Keyes, tea, wine and spirit merchant, so on. Better not teach him his own business. "You know yourself, Councillor, just what he wants." "We can do that," the foreman said. "Have you the design?" "I can get it. It was in a Kilkenny paper. And just a little paragraph calling attention. You know, the usual." "We can do that," Mr. Nanetti said. "Let him give us 3 months' renewal."
And it was the feast of the Passover.
Mr. Bloom walked through the case room. He stayed in his walk to watch a typesetter neatly distributing type. Reads it backwards first. Poor Papa with his Haggadah book, reading backwards with his finger to me. Pesach. Next year in Jerusalem, dear, oh dear. Mr. Bloom passed out of the clanking noises, through the gallery, onto the landing. Now, am I going to tram it out all the way and then catch him out, perhaps? Better phone him up first. He went down the house staircase. A sudden screech of laughter came from the Evening Telegraph office. Know who that is. What's up? Pop in a minute to phone. Ned Lambert it is. He entered softly.
"The ghost walks," Professor McHugh murmured softly, biscuitfully, to the dusty window-pane.
The doorknob hit Mr. Bloom in the small of the back as the door was pushed in.
"Excuse me," J.J. O'Malloy said, entering. "Sad."
Cleverest fellow at the junior bar he used to be. Decline, poor chap. That hectic flush spells finis for a man. Touch and go with him. What's in the wind, I wonder? Money worry.
"Is the editor to be seen?" J.J. O'Malloy asked. The inner door was opened violently, and a scarlet-beaked face, crested by a comb of feathery hair, thrust itself in. The bold blue eyes stared about them, and the harsh voice of the editor asked, "What is it?" "And here comes the sham squire himself," Professor McHugh said grandly. "Get honour to that, you bloody old pedagogue," the editor said in recognition. "Come, Ned," Mr. Dedalus said, putting on his hat. "I must get a drink." "Drink?" the editor cried. "No drink served before Mass." "Quite right, too," Mr. Dedalus said, going out. "Come on, Ned." Spot the winner.
Mr. Bloom, seeing the coast was clear, made for the inner door. "Mr. Crawford," he said to the editor, "I just want to phone about an ad." He went in. As he did so, Lenehan came out with sports tissues. "Who wants a dead cert for the Gold Cup?" he asked. "Scepter with old Madden up." He tossed the tissues onto the table.
Exit Bloom.
"I'm just running round to Bachelor's Walk," Mr. Bloom said, "about this ad of Keyes's. Want to fix it up. They tell me he's round there in Dillon's." He looked indecisively for a moment at their faces. The editor suddenly stretched forth an arm amply.
"Begone," he said. "The world is before you."
"Back in no time," Mr. Bloom said, hurrying out past Mr. O'Madden Burke, tall in copious grey of Donegal tweed. Stephen Dedalus, behind him, uncovered as he entered.
"Entrez, mes enfants," Lenehan cried. "I escort a suppliant," O'Madden Burke said melodiously. "Youth, led by experience, visits notoriety." "How do you do?" the editor said, holding out a hand. "Come in. Your father is just gone." Lenehan said to all, "Silence for my brand-new riddle. What opera resembles a railway line? Reflect, ponder, excogitate, reply."
Stephen handed over the typed sheets, pointing to the title and the signature. "Who?" the editor asked. "Mr. Garrett Deasy," Stephen said.
"That old pelters," the editor said. "Foot and mouth, are you turned
Bullock befriending bard.
shindy in well-known restaurant?"
"The letter is not mine," Stephen answered, blushing. "Mr. Garrett Deasy asked me to—"
"Oh, I know him," Miles Crawford said. "And I knew his wife, too. The bloodiest old tartar God ever made. By Jesus, she had the foot-and-mouth disease, and no mistake. The night she threw the soup in the waiter's face and the Star and Garter. Ho-ho!"
Lenehan extended his hands in protest. "But my riddle," he said. "What opera is like a railway line?" "Opera?" Mr. O'Madden Burke's sphinx face re-riddled. Lenehan announced gladly, "The Rose of Castile." "See the wheeze? Rose of Cast Steel. Chee." Mr. O'Madden Burke fell back, feigning a gasp. "Help," he sighed. "I feel a strong weakness."
"You can do it."
The editor laid a nervous hand on Stephen's shoulder. "I want you to write something for me, something with bite in it. You can do it. I see it in your face, in the lexicon of youth." Stephen raised his eyes to the bold, unheeding stare. "He wants you for the press gang."
"Professor McGuinness was speaking to me about you," J.J. O'Malloy said to Stephen.
"Speaking about me? What did he say? What did he say? What did he say about me? Don't ask."
"From the fathers." "Let me say one thing," Professor McHugh said. "The finest display of oratory I ever heard was a speech made by John F. Taylor at the College Historical Society. Mr. Justice Fitzgibbon, the present Lord Justice of Appeal, had spoken against a paper, new for those days, advocating the revival of the Irish tongue. John F. Taylor rose to reply. Briefly his words were these: "Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, great was my admiration in listening to the remarks addressed to the youth of Ireland by my learned friend. It seemed to me that I had been transported into a country far away from this country, into an age remote from this age, that I stood in ancient Egypt, and that I was listening to the speech of some high priest of that land addressed to the youthful Moses. Why will you Jews not accept our culture, our religion, and our language? You are a tribe of nomad herdsmen. We are a mighty people. You have no cities nor no wealth. Our cities are hives of humanity, and our galleys, laden with all manner merchandise, furrow the waters of the known globe. But, ladies and gentlemen, had the youthful Moses listened to and accepted that view of life, had he bowed his head before that arrogant admonition, he would never have brought the chosen people out of the house of bondage." J.J. O'Malloy said, not without regret, "And yet he died without having entered the land of promise."
"Gentlemen," Stephen said, "as the next motion on the agenda paper, may I suggest that the House do now adjourn?" "You take my breath away," O'Madden Burke replied. "'Tis the hour, methinks, when the wine-jug, metaphorically speaking, is most grateful in ye ancient hostelry." "All those in favour say aye," Lenehan announced. "The contrary, no. I declare it carried. To which particular boozing shed? My casting vote is Mooney's." He led the way. The company set out. They turned to the left along Abbey Street. "I have a vision, too," Stephen said. A newsboy shot past them, yelling as he ran, "Racing special!"
"Dear dirty Dublin."
Dubliners. "Two Dublin Vestals," Stephen said, "elderly and pious, have lived 50 and 53 years in Fumbleys Lane. They want to see the views of Dublin from the top of Nelson's Pillar. They save up 3 and 10pence in a red tin letterbox money box. They buy 1 and 4pence of brawn and 4 slices of pan loaf. They purchase 4 and 20 ripe plums from a girl at the foot of Nelson's pillar. They give 2 threepenny bits to the gentleman at the turnstile and begin to waddle slowly up the winding staircase.
Return of Bloom.
Mr. Bloom, breathless, caught in a whirl of wild newsboys near the offices of the Irish Catholic and Dublin Penny Journal, called, "Mr. Crawford, a moment. Telegraph, racing special." "What is it?" Miles Crawford said, falling back a pace. "Just that ad," Mr. Bloom said. "Mr. Keyes will give a renewal for 2 months, he says, after he'll see. But he wants the paragraph to call attention in the Telegraph too, the Saturday Pink. What will I tell him, Mr. Crawford?"
KMA.
"Will you tell him he can kiss me arse?" Miles Crawford said, throwing out his arm for emphasis. "Tell him that straight from the stable."
KMRIA.
"He can kiss me Royal Irish arse," Miles Crawford cried loudly over his shoulder. "Any time he likes, tell him." While Mr. Bloom stood weighing the point and about to smile, Miles Crawford strode on jerkily with J.J. O'Malloy.
Raising the wind. "Nulla bona, J.J., he said. I'm up to here. Sorry, Jack, but you must take the will for the deed. With a heart and a half if I could raise the wind anyhow." J.J. O'Malloy pulled a long face and walked on silently. They caught up with the others. Those slightly rambunctious females.
"The 2 old women are afraid Nelson's pillar will fall," Stephen went on. "They see the roofs and argue about where the different churches are, but it makes them giddy to look, so they pull up their skirts and settle down on their striped petticoats, peering up at the statue of the one-handled adulterer." "One-handled adulterer," the professor cried. "I like that. I see the idea. I see what you mean." "It gives them a crick in their necks," Stephen said. "They put the bag of plums between them and eat the plums out of it, spitting the plum stones slowly out between the railings." He gave a sudden young laugh as a close. "But what do you call it?" Miles Crawford asked. "I call it," Stephen said, "a Pisgah sight of Palestine, or the parable of the plums." "I see," the professor said. He laughed richly. "One-handled adulterer. That tickles me, I must say." "Tickled the old ones too," Miles Crawford said, "if God Almighty's truth was known."
A sombre YMCA young man placed a throwaway in the hand of Mr. Bloom. "Blood of the Lamb." His slow feet walked him riverward, reading. "Are you saved? All are washed in the blood of the Lamb. God wants blood victim. Elijah is coming. Dr. John Alexander Dowie, restorer of the church in Zion, is coming, is coming, is coming, is coming." All heartily welcome. From Butler's Monument House corner he glanced across Bachelor's Walk. Diddle's daughter still there outside Dillon's auction rooms. Must be selling off some old furniture. Good Lord, that poor child's dress is in flitters. Underfed she looks too. Potatoes and marge and potatoes. Undermines the constitution. As he set foot on O'Connell Bridge, looking down he saw, flapping strongly, wheeling between the gaunt quay walls, gulls. He threw down among them a crumpled paper ball. "Elijah, 32 feet per sec, is come." A procession of white-smocked sandwich men marched slowly towards him along the gutter. He read the scarlet letters on their 5 tall white hats. HELYS. Wisdom Heelys. 3 bob a day, walking along the gutter street after street. Doesn't bring in any business either. I suggested to him about a transparent show cart with 2 smart girls sitting inside, writing letters, copybooks, envelopes, blotting paper. I bet that would have caught on. Everyone dying to know what she's writing. Got that job at Wisdom Heelys 6 years, 10 years ago. Millie was a kiddie then. Happy. Happier then. Snug little room that was with the red wallpaper. Millie's tubbing night. American soap I bought, elderflower. Cosy smell of her bath water. Funny she looked soaped all over. Shapely, too. Now, photography. He walked along the curbstone. "Oh, Mr. Bloom, how do you do?" "Oh, how do you do, Mrs. Breen?" "No use complaining. How is Molly these times? Haven't seen her for ages." "We're in the pink. Millie has a position down in Mullingar, you know." "Go away, isn't that grand for her?" "Yes, in a photographer's there, getting on like a house on fire." "You're in black, I see. You have no—" "No," Mr. Bloom said. "I've just come from a funeral." Change the subject. "Do you see anything of Mrs. Beaufoy?" Mr. Bloom asked. Mina Purifoy, she said. Philip Beaufoy, I was thinking. Matcham often thinks of his masterstroke. Did I pull the chain? Yes, the last act. Yes, I just called to ask on the way in, is she over it? She's in the lying-in hospital in Holly Street. Dr. Horn got her in. She's 3 days bad now. Oh, Mr. Bloom said, I'm sorry to hear that. A bony form strode along the curbstone from the river, staring with a rapt gaze into the sunlight through a heavy-stringed glass. From his arm, a folded dustcoat, a stick, and an umbrella dangled to his stride. Watch him, Mr. Bloom said. He always walks outside the lamp-posts. Watch. Who is he, if that's a fair question? Mrs. Breen asked. Is he Dotty? His name is Cashel Boyle O'Connor Fitzmaurice Tisdall Farrell, Mr. Bloom said, smiling. He has enough of them. She broke off suddenly. Goodbye. Remember me to Molly, won't you? I will. Mr. Bloom walked on again easily. Poor Mrs. Purifoy. Methodist husband. Method in his madness. He stood at Fleet Street crossing. Luncheon interval. A sixpenny at Rose? Must look up that in the National Library. An eightpenny in the Burtons. Better. On me way. Duke Street, here we are. Must eat. The Burton. Feel better then. He pushed open the door of the Burton restaurant. Stink gripped his trembling breath. Pungent meat juice, slush of greens, see the animals feed. Men, men, men. Perched on high stools by the bar, hats shoved back, swilling, wolfing gobfuls of sloppy food, their eyes bulging, wiping wetted moustaches. A man with a sore-stained napkin tucked around him shoveled gurgling soup down his gullet. A man spitting back on his plate half-masticated gristle. Roast beef and cabbage, one stew. Smells of stew, spat on sawdust, sweetish, warmish cigarette smoke. Spilt beer, men's beery piss, the stale of ferment. His gorge rose. Not here. He backed towards the door. Get a light snack at Davy Burns. And a good breakfast. Every fellow for his own, tooth and nail, gulp, grub, gulp, gobstuff. He entered Davy Burns. Moral pub. He doesn't chat. Hello, Bloom, Nosy Flynn said from his nook. Hello, Flynn. How's things? Tip-top. Let me see, I'll take a glass of Burgundy and, let me see, potted meats. What is a home without Plumtree's potted meat? Incomplete. What a stupid ad. Under the obituary notices they stuck it in. Dignam's potted meat. Have you a cheese sandwich? Yes, sir. A gorgonzola, have you? Yes, sir. Nosy Flynn sipped his grog. Good glass of Burgundy. Lubricate the inside. Mr. Bloom ate his sandwich. Fresh, clean bread with relish of disgust pungent mustard, the feety savour of green cheese. Glowing wine on his palate. Touched his sense moistened, remembered. Hidden under wild ferns on Hoath, below us bay, sleeping. Sky. No sound. Sky. The bay purpled by the lion's head. Pillowed on my coat she had her hair, my hand under her nape. Oh, wonder. Cool, soft, her hand touched me, caressed. Her eyes upon me need not turn away. Ravished over her I lay, full lips full open, kissed her mouth. Yum. Softly she gave me in my mouth the seed cake, warm and chewed. Joy. I ate it. Young life her lips gave me pouting. Flowers her eyes were, take me, willing eyes. She lay still. Wildly I lay on her, kissed her, eyes, her lips, her stretched neck beating, woman's breasts full in her blouse, fat nipples upright. Hot I tongued her, she kissed me. I was kissed. All yielding she tossed my hair, kissed, she kissed me. Me, and me now. Stuck, the flies buzzed. His eyes followed the oaken slab of the bar. Beauty, it curbs. Curbs are beauty. Shapely goddesses, Venus, Juno, curves the world admires. Can see them in the Library Museum standing in the round hall, naked goddesses. They don't care what man looks, all to see. Quaffing nectar with God's golden dishes, all ambrosial. Not like a tenner lunch we have, boiled mutton, carrots and turnips, bottle of allsop. Nectar, imagine drinking electricity. God's food. And we stuffing food into one hole and out behind. Food, blood, dung, earth, food. Have to keep it fed like stoking an engine. They have no... I never looked. I'll look today. Keeper won't see. Bend down, let something drop. See if she... Paddy Leonard and Bantam Lyons came in. "Day, Mr. Byrne. Day, gentlemen." "I'll take a stone ginger," Bantam Lyons said. Paddy Leonard eyed his ale-mate. "Lord love a doc. He's some bloody horse up his sleeve for the Gold Cop, a dead snip." "Sin Fadal, is it?" Nosey Flynn asked. "Say nothing," Bantam Lyons winked. "I'm going to plunge 5 bob." Mr. Bloom, on his way out, raised 3 fingers in greeting. "So long," Nosey Flynn said. The others turned. "That's the man who gave it to me," Bantam Lyons whispered. Mr. Bloom walked towards Dawson Street, his tongue brushing his teeth smooth. Feel better. Burgundy. Good pick-me-up. That Kilkenny people. Keys ad in the National Library. Now I must. A blind stripling stood tapping the curbstone with his tender cane. "Wants to cross." "You're in Dawson Street," Mr. Bloom said. The blind stripling did not answer. "I'll set you across. Do you want Molesworth Street?" "Yes," the stripling answered. "South Frederick Street." "Come," Mr. Bloom said. Mr. Bloom walked behind the eyeless feet. The blind stripling tapped the curbstone and went on his way. All the things they can learn to do. Read with their fingers, tune pianos. Poor fella, quite a boy. Terrible. Hello. Placard. Mirus Bazaar, His Excellency the Lord Lieutenant, 16th, today, in aid of funds for Mercer's Hospital. What about going out there? Mr. Bloom came to Kildare Street. First I must. Library. Straw hat in sunlight. Tan shoes. Turned-up trousers. It is. His heart coughed softly. To the right. Museum. Goddesses. He swerved to the right. It is. Yes, it is. Not see. The museum gate. Gate! Safe.
One o'clock. The National Library, Kildare Street.
Urbane, the Quaker librarian purred. Our young Irish bards have yet to create a figure which the world will set beside Saxon Shakespeare's Hamlet, though I admire him, as old Ben did, on this side idolatry.
Mr. Best entered. Tall, young, mild, light. Hold to the now, the here, through which all future plunges to the past.
Mr. Best came forward, amiable, towards his colleague. "Haynes is gone," he said. "Is he? He's quite enthusiastic, don't you know, about Hyde's Love Songs of Connaught. I couldn't bring him in to hear the discussion. He's gone to Gill's to buy it."
Bound thee forth my booklet quick to greet the callous public. Writ, I ween, 'twas not my wish, in lean, unlovely English.
"The peat smoke is going to his head," John Eglinton opined. Mr. Best turned an unoffending face to Stephen. "Mallarmé, don't you know, has written those wonderful prose poems Stephen McKenna used to read to me in Paris. The one about Hamlet. He says, il se promène lisant au livre de lui-même, don't you know, reading the book of himself."
The absent-minded beggar, sumptuous and stagnant exaggeration of murder. A deathsman of the soul, Robert Greene called him, Stephen said.
"He will have it that Hamlet is a ghost story," John Eglinton said for Mr. Best's behoof. "Like the fat boy in Pickwick, he wants to make our flesh creep."
List, oh list. My flesh hears him, creeping, hears. What is a ghost? Stephen said. One who has faded into impalpability through death, through absence, through change of manners. Elizabethan London lay as far from Stratford as corrupt Paris lies from virgin Dublin. Who is the ghost returning to the world that has forgotten him? Who is King Hamlet? John Eglinton shifted his spare body, leaning back to judge. It is this hour of the day in mid-June, Stephen said, begging with a swift glance their hearing. The flag is up on the playhouse by the bankside. Canvas climbers who sailed with Drake chew their sausages among the groundlings. Local colour, work in all you know. The play begins. A player comes on onto the shadow, made up in the cast-off mail of a court buck, a well-set man with a bass voice. It is the ghost, the king. A king and no king, and the player is Shakespeare. He speaks the words to Burbage, the young player who stands before him beyond the rack of the cerecloth, calling him by a name. Hamlet, I am thy father's spirit, bidding him list. To a son he speaks, the son of his soul, the prince, young Hamlet, and to the son of his body, Hamnet Shakespeare, who has died in Stratford. Is it possible that the player Shakespeare, speaking his own words to his own son's name, had Hamnet Shakespeare lived, he would have been Prince Hamlet's twin? Is it possible that he did not draw or foresee the logical conclusion of those premises? I am the murdered father, your mother is the guilty queen, Anne Shakespeare, born Hathaway.
Do you mean to fly in the face of the tradition of 3 centuries? John Eglinton's carping voice asked. Anne Hathaway's ghost at least has been laid forever. She died, for literature at least, before she was born.
She died, Stephen retorted, 67 years after she was born. She saw him into the world, she took his first embraces, she bore his children, and she laid pennies on his eyes to keep his eyelids closed when he lay on his deathbed. Mother's deathbed. Candle. The sheeted mirror. Who brought me into this world lies there, bronze-lidded, under few cheap flowers. Liliata rutilantium. I wept alone.
John Eglinton looked at the tangled glowworm of his lamp. The world believes that Shakespeare made a mistake, he said.
Bosh, Stephen said rudely. A man of genius makes no mistakes. His errors are willed and are the portals of discovery. He chose badly? He was chosen, it seems to me. If others have their will, Anne Hathaway. By cock, she was to blame. She put the comether on him, sweet and 26, the grey-eyed goddess who bends over the boy Adonis, stooping to conquer, as prologue to the swelling act, is a bold-faced Stratford wench who tumbles in a cornfield a lover younger than herself. And my turn. When?
Certainly, John Eglinton mused. Of all the great men, he is the most enigmatic. We know nothing but that he lived and suffered, not even so much. But Hamlet is so personal, isn't it? Mr. Best pleaded. I mean, a kind of private paper, don't you know, of his private life. I mean, I don't care a button, don't you know, who is killed or who is guilty.
They list, and in the portals of their ears I pour. The soul has been before stricken mortally, a poison poured in the porch of a sleeping ear, but those who are done to death in sleep cannot know the manner of their quell unless their Creator endow their souls with that knowledge in the life to come. The poisoning and the beast with 2 backs that urged it, King Hamlet's ghost could not know of were he not endowed with knowledge by his Creator. That is why the speech, his lean, unlovely English, is always turned elsewhere, backward. His beaver is up, he is a ghost, a shadow now, the wind by Elsinore's rocks, or what you will, the sea's voice, a voice heard only in the heart of him who is the substance of his shadow, the Son consubstantial with the Father. Amen, was responded from the doorway. Hast thou found me out, O mine enemy? Entr'acte. A ribald face, sullen as a dean's, Buck Mulligan came forward, then blithe and motley, towards the greeting of their smiles. My telegram. You were speaking of the gaseous vertebrate, if I mistake not, he asked of Stephen. Primrose-vested, he greeted gaily with his doffed Panama as with a bauble. They make him welcome. Brood of mockers. Photius, Pseudo-Malachi, Johann Most. He who himself begot, middler the Holy Ghost, and himself sent himself, who put upon by his fiends, stripped and whipped, was nailed like bat to barn door, starved on cross-tree, who let him bury, stood up, harrowed hell, fared into heaven, and there these 1900 years sitteth on the right hand of his own self, but yet shall come in the latter day to doom the quick and the dead, when all the quick shall be dead already. Gloria in excelsis Deo.
Yes, indeed, the Quaker librarian said. Mr. Mulligan, I'll be bound, has his theory too of the play and of Shakespeare. All sides of life should be represented. He smiled on all sides equally.
Buck Mulligan thought, puzzled. Shakespeare, he said. I seem to know that name. A flying sunny smile rayed in his loose features. To be sure, he said, remembering brightly. That chap that writes like Sing.
John Eglinton answered. Has no one made him out to be an Irishman? Judge Barton, I believe, is searching for some clues. He swears, His Highness, not his Lordship, by St. Patrick. The most brilliant of all is that story of Wilde's, Mr. Best said, lifting his brilliant notebook. That portrait of Mr. W.H., where he proves that the sonnets were written by a Willie Hughes, a man of all hues. For Willie Hughes, is it not? The Quaker librarian asked.
Or Hughie Wills, Mr. William himself, W.H. Who am I?
I mean for Willie Hughes, Mr. Best said, amending his gloss easily. Of course, it's all paradox, don't you know? It's the very essence of Wilde, don't you know? The light touch.
His glance touched their faces lightly as he smiled, a blonde ephebe. Tame essence of Wilde.
Do you think it is only a paradox? The Quaker librarian was asking. The mocker is never taken seriously when he is most serious. They talked seriously of Mocker's seriousness.
Buck Mulligan's again heavy face eyed Stephen a while. Then, his head wagging, he came near, drew a folded telegram from his pocket, his mobile lips red, smiling with new delight. "Telegram," he said. "Wonderful inspiration. Telegram, a papal bull." He sat on a corner of the unlit desk, reading aloud joyfully. "The sentimentalist is he who would enjoy without incurring the immense debtorship for a thing done. Signed, Daedalus." "Where did you launch it from? The Kips?" "No, College Green. Have you drunk the 4 quid? The aunt is going to call on your unsubstantial father. Telegram, Malachi Mulligan, the ship, Lower Abbey Street. Oh, you peerless mummer. Oh, you priestified kinshite." Joyfully he thrust message and envelope into a pocket, but keened in a querulous brogue. "It's what I'm telling you, Mr. Honey. It's queer and sick we were, Haynes and myself, the time himself brought it in. 'Twas murmur we did for a gallus potion would rouse a friar, I'm thinking, and he limp with leching. And we 1 hour and 2 hours and 3 hours in Connery sitting civil waiting for pints apiece," he wailed. "And we to be there, Mavrone, and you to be unbeknownst sending us your conglomerations the way we have tongues out a yard long like the drouthy clerics to be fainting for a pussful." Stephen laughed. Quickly, warningly, Buck Mulligan bent down. "The Tramper Singh is looking for you," he said, "to murder you. He heard you pissed on his hall door in Glasthule. He's out in Pampooties to murder you." "Me?" Stephen exclaimed. "That was your contribution to literature." Harsh, gargoyle face that warred against me over our mess of hash of lights in Rue Saint-André-des-Arts.
"Mr. Lister," an attendant said from the door ajar. "There's a gentleman here, sir," the attendant said, coming forward and offering a card. "From the Freeman. He wants to see the files of the Kilkenny people for last year." "Certainly, certainly, certainly. Is the gentleman—" He took the eager card, glanced, not saw, laid down unglanced, looked, asked, creaked, asked, "Is he—" "Oh, there." Brisk in a galliard he was off, out. In the daylight corridor he talked with voluble pains of zeal in duty-bound, most fair, most kind, most honest, broad brim. "The gentleman, Freeman's Journal, Kilkenny people, to be sure. Good day, sir. Kilkenny, we have, certainly." A patient silhouette waited, listening. "All the leading provincials, Northern Whig, Cork Examiner, Inniscorthy Guardian, last year, 1903. Will you please— Evans, conduct this gentleman. If you will just follow the attent— Oh, please allow me, this way, please, sir." Voluble, dutiful, he led the way to all the provincial papers, a bowing dark figure following his hasty heels. The door closed.
"The Sheeny!" Buck Mulligan cried. He jumped up and snatched the card. "What's his name?" "Ikey Moses Bloom." He rattled on. "I found him in the museum where I went to hail the foam-born Aphrodite, the Greek mouth that has never been twisted in prayer. Every day we must do homage to her." Suddenly he turned to Stephen. "He knows you. He knows your old fella. Oh, I fear me, he is Greeker than the Greeks. His pale Galilean eyes were upon her messial groove. Venus Callipyge, oh, the thunder of those loins, the god pursuing the maiden hid."
"We want to hear more," John Eglinton decided with Mr. Best's approval. "We begin to be interested in Mrs. S. Till now we had thought of her, if at all, as a patient Griselda, a Penelope stay-at-home."
"Antisthenes, pupil of Gorgias," Stephen said, "took the palm of beauty from Helen, the wooden mare of Troy, in whom a score of heroes slept, and handed it to poor Penelope. 20 years he lived in London, and during part of that time he drew a salary equal to that of the Lord Chancellor of Ireland. His life was rich. His art, more than the art of feudalism, as Walt Whitman called it, is the art of surfeit. Hot herring pies, green mugs of sack, honey sauces, sugar of roses, marchpane, gooseberried pigeons, ring o' candies. Sir Walter Raleigh, when they arrested him, had 500,000 francs on his back, including a pair of fancy stays. The gombeen woman Eliza Tudor had underlinen enough to vie with her of Sheba. 20 years he dallied there between conjugal love and its chaste delights, and scortatory love and its foul pleasures. You know Manningham's story of the burgher's wife who bade Dick Burbage to her bed after she had seen him in Richard III, and how Shakespeare, overhearing without more ado about nothing, took the cow by the horns, and when Burbage came knocking at the gate, answered from the capons blankets, "William the Conqueror came before Richard III," and the gay Lakin Mistress Fitton mount and cry o. Buck Mulligan, his pious eyes upturned, prayed, "Blessed Margaret Mary Anycock." But in all those 20 years, what do you suppose poor Penelope in Stratford was doing behind the diamond panes? In a rosary of Fetter Lane of Gerard Herbalist he walks. Afar in a reek of lust and squalor, hands are laid on whiteness. Buck Mulligan rapped John Eglinton's desk sharply. "Whom do you suspect?" he challenged. "Say that he is the spurned lover of the sonnets, once spurned, twice spurned, but the court wanton spurned him for a lord, his dear my love. Love that dare not speak its name."
As an Englishman, you mean, John Sturdy Eglinton put in. He loved a lord.
Two deeds are rank in the ghost's mind. A broken vow and a dull-brained yokel on whom her favour has declined, deceased husband's brother. Sweet Anne, I take it, was hot in the blood. Once a wooer, twice a wooer. Stephen turned boldly in his chair. "The burden of proof is with you, not with me," he said, frowning. "If you deny that in the 5th scene of Hamlet he has branded her with infamy, tell me why there is no mention of her during the 34 years between the day she married him and the day she buried him." "Oh, yes, mention there is. In the years when he was living richly in royal London, to pay a debt she had to borrow 40 shillings from her father's shepherd. Explain you then. Explain the swan song too, wherein he has commended her to posterity." He faced their silence. "He left her his second-best bed. Punct. Left her his second-best, left her his best-a-bed, second-best, left-a-bed. Whoa."
Steadfast John replied severe. Falstaff was not a family man. I feel that the fat knight is his supreme creation. What do we care for his wife and father?
"Your own? He knows your old fella. The widower." Hurrying to her squalid death lair from gay Paris on the quayside touched his hand. The voice, new warmth, speaking. "Dr. Bob Kenny is attending her. The eyes that wish me well but do not know me." "A father," Stephen said, "is a necessary evil." Am I a father? If I were. Sabellius the African, subtlest heresiarch of all the beasts of the field, held that the father was himself his own son. What the hell are you driving at? I know, shut up, blast you, I have reasons. Are you condemned to do this? When Rutland Bacon, Southampton Shakespeare, or another poet of the same name in the Comedy of Errors wrote Hamlet, he was not the father of his own son merely, but he was and felt himself the father of all his race, the father of his own grandfather, the father of his unborn grandson.
The plot thickens, John Eglinton said.
William had 3 brothers, Gilbert, Edmund, Richard. Gilbert is nowhere, but an Edmund and a Richard are recorded in the works of Sweet William. Richard Crookback, Edmund in King Lear. That last play was written, or being written, while his brother Edmund lay dying in Southwark.
The Quaker librarian spring-halted near. "I should like to know," he said, "which brother I understand you to suggest there was misconduct with one of the brothers."
You will say those names were already in the chronicles from which he took the stuff of his plays. Why did he take them rather than others? Why? Stephen answered himself. Because the theme of the false or the usurping or the adulterous brother, or all 3 in one, is to Shakespeare what the poor are not, always with him. "Cuckoo, cuckoo," Cuck Mulligan clucked lewdly. "Oh, word of fear."
John Eglinton summed up. The truth is midway. He is ghost and prince. He is all in all.
He is, Stephen said. The boy of Act 1 is the mature man of Act 5, all in all. In Cymbeline, in Othello, he is bawd and cuckold. He acts and is acted on.
When all is said, undaunted John Eglinton exclaimed, Duma fils, or is it Duma père, is right. After God, Shakespeare has created most.
Man delights him not, nor woman neither, Stephen said. He returns after a life of absence to that spot on earth where he was born. Then dies. The motion is ended. Gravediggers bury Hamlet père and Hamlet fils. A king and a prince at last in death, with incidental music. The playwright who wrote the folio of this world, and wrote it badly, who gave us light first and the sun 2 days later, the Lord of things as they are, whom the most Roman of Catholics call Dio Boia, hangman god, is doubtless all in all of us, ostler and butcher, and would be bawd and cuckold too, but that in the economy of heaven, foretold by Hamlet, there are no more marriages.
You are a delusion, said roundly John Eglinton to Stephen. Do you believe your own theory?
No, Stephen said promptly. I believe, O Lord, help my unbelief. That is, help me to believe, or help me to unbelieve. Who helps to believe? Ego men. Who to unbelieve? Other chap. Buck Mulligan stood up. Come, Kinch, come, wandering Angus of the birds. The bards must drink. Can you walk straight? Stephen followed a jester, a well-kempt head, new-barbered, out of the vaulted cell into a shattering daylight of no thought. What have I learnt? Of them. Of me. The constant reader's room. In the reader's book, Cashel Boyle O'Connor Fitzmaurice Tisdall Farrell parses his polysyllables. Item. Was Hamlet mad? Halted. Below me. A quizzer looks at me. I halt. Mournful mummer, Buck Mulligan moaned. Sing has left off wearing black to be like nature. Only crows, priests, and English coal are black. A laugh tripped over his lips. Longworth is awfully sick, he said, after what you wrote about that old Hake Gregory. Oh, you inquisitional drunken Jew Jesuit. She gets you a job on the paper, and then you go and slate her drivel to Jesus. Couldn't you do the Yeats touch? He went up and down, mopping, chanting with waving, graceful arms, the most beautiful book that has come out of our country in my time. One thinks of Homer. He laughed, lolling a to and fro head, walking on, followed by Stephen, and mirthfully he told the shadows, souls of men. Oh, the night in the Camden Hall when the daughters of Erin had to lift their skirts to step over you, as you lay in your mulberry-coloured, multicoloured, multitudinous vomit. The most innocent son of Erin, Stephen said, for whom they ever lifted them. About to pass through the doorway, feeling one behind, he stood aside. Part. The moment is now.
A man passed out between them, bowing, greeting.
Good day again, Buck Mulligan said. The portico. Here I watch the birds for augury. Angus of the birds. They go, they come. Last night flew, street of harlots, a cream fruit melon he held up to me. In, you will see. The wandering Jew, Buck Mulligan whispered with clown's awe. Did you see his eye? He looked upon you to lust after you. I fear thee, ancient mariner. Oh, Kinch, thou art in peril. Get thee a breech pad.
A dark back went before them, down out by the gateway under portcullis barbs. They followed.
Kind air defined the coigns of houses in Kildare Street. No birds. Frail from the housetops 2 plumes of smoke ascended, pluming, and in a flaw of softness softly were blown. Cease to strive. Peace of the druid priests of Cymbeline, from wide earth an altar. Laud we the gods, and let our crooked smokes climb to their nostrils from our blessed altars.
The city of Dublin. Nearly 3 o'clock. June the 16th, 1904.
The Superior, the Very Reverend John Conmee, S.J., reset his smooth watch in his interior pocket as he came down the presbytery steps. 5 to 3. Just nice time to walk to Artane. What was the boy's name again? Dignam. Yes, very dignam et justum est. Brother Swan was the person to see. Mr. Cunningham's letter, yes. Oblige him, if possible. Good, practical Catholic, useful at mission time. A one-legged sailor, swinging himself onward by lazy jerks of his crutches, growled some notes and held out a peaked cap for alms towards the very Reverend John Conmee, S.J. Father Conmee blessed him in the sun, for his purse held, he knew, 1 silver crown. Father Conmee crossed to Mountjoy Square. He walked by the tree shade of sun-winking leaves, and towards him came the wife of Mr. David Sheehy, M.P. "Very well indeed, Father. And you, Father?" Father Conmee was wonderfully well indeed. Father Conmee was very glad to see the wife of Mr. David Sheehy, M.P., looking so well, and he begged to be remembered to Mr. David Sheehy, M.P. Yes, he would certainly call. "Good afternoon, Mrs. Sheehy." Mr. Dennis J. McGinney, professor of dancing, etc., in silk hat, slate frock coat with silk facings, white kerchief tie, tight lavender trousers, canary gloves, and pointed patent boots, walking with grave deportment, most respectfully took the curbstone as he passed Lady Maxwell at the corner of Digham's Court. The constable on his beat saluted Father Conmee, and Father Conmee saluted the constable. At Newcomen Bridge, Father Conmee stepped into an outward-bound tram, for he disliked to traverse on foot the dingy way past Mud Island. He sat in the corner of the tram-car, a blue ticket tucked with care in the eye of one plump kid glove, while 4 shillings, a sixpence, and 5 pennies shooted from his other plump gloved palm into his purse. At the Howth Road stop, Father Conmee alighted, was saluted by the conductor, and saluted in his turn. It was a charming day.
A one-legged sailor crutched himself round McConnell's corner, skirting Rabayotti's ice cream car, and jerked himself up Eccles Street. He growled unamiably, "For England!" He swung himself forward in vigorous jerks, halted, lifted his head towards a window, and bayed deeply, "Home and beauty!" The gay, sweet chirping, whistling within went on a bar or two, ceased. The blind of the window was drawn aside. A card, "Unfurnished apartments," slipped from the sash and fell.
A plump, bare, generous arm shone, was seen, held forth from a white petticoat bodice and taut shift straps. A woman's hand flung forth a coin over the area railings. It fell on the path. Katie and Boody Dedalus shoved in the door of the close-steaming kitchen. "Did you put in the books?" Boody asked. Maggie at the range ran down a greyish mass beneath bubbling suds twice with her potstick and wiped her brow. "They wouldn't give anything on them," she said.
Father Conmee walked through Clongo's fields, his thin socked ankles tickled by stubble.
"Where did you try?" Boody asked. "McGuinness's." Boody stamped her foot and threw her satchel on the table. "Bad cess to her big face," she cried. Katie went to the range and peered with squinting eyes. "What's in the pot?" she asked. "Shirts," Maggie said. Boody cried angrily, "Crikey, is there nothing for us to eat?" Katie, lifting the kettle lid in a pad of her stained skirt, asked, "What's in this?" A heavy fume gushed in answer. "Pea soup," Maggie said. "Where did you get it?" Katie asked. "Sister Mary Patrick," Maggie said. Boody sat down at the table and said hungrily, "Give us it here." Maggie poured yellow, thick soup from the kettle into a bowl. Katie, sitting opposite Boody, said quietly, as her fingertip lifted to her mouth random crumbs, "Good job we have that much." "Where's Dilly?" "Gone to meet Father," Maggie said. Boody, breaking big chunks of bread into the yellow soup, added, "Our Father who art not in heaven." Maggie, pouring yellow soup into Katie's bowl, exclaimed, "Boody, for shame!"
A skiff at crumpled throwaway, Elijah is coming, rode lightly down the Liffey, under Loop Line Bridge, shooting the rapids where the water chafed around the bridge piers, sailing eastward past hulls and anchor chains, between the Custom House Old Dock and George's Quay. The blonde girl in Thornton's bedded the wicker basket with rustling fibre. Blazes Boylan handed her the bottle swathed in pink tissue paper and a small jar. Put these in first, will you?
"Yes, sir," the blonde girl said. "And the fruit on top?"
That'll do, game ball, Blazes Boylan said.
She bestowed fat pears neatly, head by tail, and among them ripe, shamefaced peaches.
Send it at once, will you?
Yes, sir. I will, sir.
Blazes Boylan looked into the cut of her blouse. A young pullet. He took a red carnation from a tall stem glass. "This for me?" he asked gallantly.
The blonde girl glanced sideways at him, got up regardless with his tie a bit crooked, blushing. "Yes, sir," she said.
Blazes Boylan looked in her blouse with more favour. He placed the stalk of the red flower between his smiling teeth.
5 tall white-hatted sandwichmen between Moneypenny's corner and the slab where Wolfe-Tone's statue was not, eeled themselves, turning HELY' and plodded back as they had come. Master Patrick Dignam came out of Mangan's, late Ferrenbach's, carrying 1.5 pounds of pork steaks.
Mr. Bloom turned over idly pages of the awful disclosures of Maria Monk, then of Aristotle's masterpiece, crooked botched print, plates, infants cuddled in a ball like livers of slaughtered cows. Lots of them like that at this moment all over the world, all butting with their skulls to get out of it. Child born every minute somewhere. Mrs. Purefoy. The shopman let 2 volumes fall on the counter. "Them are 2 good ones," he said. Mr. Bloom, alone, looked at the titles. Fair Tyrants by James Lovebirch. Know the kind that is. Had it? Yes. He opened it. Thought so. He read the other title. Sweets of Sin. More in her line. Let us see. He read where his finger opened. All the dollar bills her husband gave her were spent in the stores on wondrous gowns and costliest fillies. For him, for Raoul. Yes, this. Here, try. Her mouth glued on his in a luscious, voluptuous kiss. The beautiful woman threw off her sable-trimmed wrap, displaying her queenly shoulders and heaving embonpoint. An imperceptible smile played round her perfect lips as she turned to him calmly. "I'll take this one." The shopman lifted his eyes, bleared with old rheum. "Sweets of Sin," he said, tapping on it. "That's a good one."
The lackey by the door of Dillon's auction rooms shook his handbell twice again and viewed himself in the chalked mirror of the cabinet. Dilly Dedalus, loitering by the curbstone, heard the beats of the bell, the cries of the auctioneer within. 4 and 9. Those lovely curtains. 5 shillings. Cosy curtains. Selling new at 2 guineas. Any advance on 5 shillings? Going at 5 shillings. The lackey lifted his handbell and shook it. Barang.
Mr. Simon Dedalus, tugging a long moustache, came round from Williams's now. He halted near his daughter.
"It's time for you," she said.
"Stand up straight for the love of the Lord Jesus," Mr. Dedalus said. "Are you trying to imitate your Uncle John, the cornet player, a head upon shoulder? Melancholy God."
Dilly shrugged her shoulders. Mr. Dedalus placed his hands on them and held them back.
"Stand up straight, girl," he said. "You'll get curvature of the spine. Do you know what you look like?" He let his head sink suddenly down and forward, hunching his shoulders and dropping his under jaw.
"Give it up, Father," Dilly said. "All the people are looking at you."
Mr. Dedalus drew himself upright and tugged again at his moustache.
"Did you get any money?"
"Where would I get money?" Mr. Dedalus said. "There's no one in Dublin would lend me 4pence.
"You got some," Dilly said, looking in his eyes.
"How do you know that?" Mr. Dedalus asked, his tongue in his cheek.
"I know you did. Were you in the Scotch house now?"
"I was not then," Mr. Dedalus said, smiling. "Was it the little nuns taught you to be so saucy? Here." He handed her a shilling. "See if you can do anything with that," he said.
"I suppose you got 5. Give me more than that." The lackey rang his bell behind their backs. Barang.
"Curse your bloody blatant soul!" Mr. Dedalus cried, turning on him. The lackey, aware of the comment, shook the lollong clapper of his bell but feebly. Bang! Mr. Dedalus stared at him.
"You've got more than that, Father."
"I'm going to show you a little trick," Mr. Dedalus said. "I leave you all where Jesus left the Jews. Look, there's all I have. I got 2 shillings from Jack Power and I spent 2pence for a shave for the funeral." He drew forth a handful of copper coins nervously. "Here," he said, handing her 2 pennies. "Get a glass of milk for yourself and a bun or something. I'll be home shortly." He put the other coins in his pocket and walked on, murmuring to himself. North Wall and Sir John Rogerson's Quay, with hulls and anchor chains sailing westward, sailed a skiff, a crumpled throwaway, rocked on the ferry wash. Elijah is coming.
Stephen Dedalus watched through the webbed window the lapidary's fingers prove a time-dulled chain. Dust webbed the window and the show trays. Dust darkened the toiling fingers with their vulture nails. Dust slept in dull coils of bronze and silver, lozenges of cinnabar on rubies, leprous and wine-dark stones. Born in the dark, wormy earth, cold specks of fire, evil, lights shining in the darkness. Old Russell, with a smeared chamois rag burnished against his gem, turned it and held it at the point of his Moses beard. Grandfather Ape gloating on a stolen hoard. Two old women, fresh from their whiff of the briny, trudged through Irish Town along London Bridge Road, one with a sanded tired umbrella, one with a midwife's bag in which 11 cockles rolled. Stephen went down Bedford Row, the handle of his ash clacking against his shoulder blade. He turned and halted by the slanted book cart. I might find here one of my pawned school prizes. Stefano Dedalo Alumno Optimo Palmam Ferenti.
Father Conmee, having read his little hours, walked through the hamlet of Donnycarney, murmuring vespers.
What are you doing here, Stephen?
Dilly's high shoulders and shabby dress. What are you doing? Stephen said. What have you there?
I bought it from the other cart for a penny. Is it any good?
My eyes, they say she has. Do others see me so? He took the coverless book from her hand. Chardinal's French primer. What did you buy that for? To learn French? She nodded, reddening and closing tight her lips. Show no surprise, quite natural. Here, Stephen said, it's all right. Mind Maggie doesn't pawn it on you. I suppose all my books are gone.
Some. We had to.
She is drowning. Again bite. All against us. She will drown me with her, eyes and hair. Lank coils of seaweed hair around me, my heart, my soul. Salt green death. We. Again bite of inwit. Inwits again bite. Misery. Misery.
The youngster'll be all right, Martin Cunningham said as they passed out of the castle yard gate. The policeman touched his forehead. God bless you, Martin Cunningham said cheerily. Yes, I wrote to Father Conmee and laid the whole case before him. You could try our friend, Mr. Power suggested backward. Boyd, Martin Cunningham said shortly. Touch me not. John Wise Nolan, lagging behind reading the list, came after them quickly down Cork Hill. Look here, Martin, I see Bloom put his name down for 5 shillings. Quite right, Martin Cunningham said, taking the list, and put down the 5 shillings too. Without a second word either, Mr. Power said. Strange but true, Martin Cunningham added. John Wise Nolan opened wide eyes. I'll say there is much kindness in the Jew, he quoted elegantly. They went down Parliament Street. The tall form of Long John Fanning filled the doorway where he stood. Good day, Mr. Sub-Sheriff, Martin Cunningham said, as all halted and greeted. Long John Fanning made no way for them. He removed his large Henry Clay decisively, and his large, fierce eyes scowled intelligently over all their faces. Martin Cunningham spoke by turns, twirling the peak of his beard, to the assistant town clerk and the sub-sheriff, while John Wise Nolan held his peace. What dignum was that? Long John Fanning asked. Come on up, Martin Cunningham said to the sub-sheriff. I don't think you knew him, or perhaps you did, though. Long John Fanning could not remember him. Clatter of horse hoofs sounded from the air. What's that? Martin Cunningham said. All turned where they stood. John Wise Nolan came down again. From the cool shadow of the doorway he saw the horses pass Parliament Street, harness and glossy pasterns in sunlight shimmering. Gaily they went past before his cool, unfriendly eyes, not quickly. In saddles of the leaders, leaping leaders, rode outriders. What was it? Martin Cunningham asked as they went on up the staircase. The Lord Lieutenant General and General Governor of Ireland, John Wise Nolan answered from the stair-foot. Elijah, skiff, light crumble throwaway, sailed eastwards by flanks of ships and trawlers, amid the archipelago of Corks, beyond New Wapping Street past Benson's Ferry, and by the three-masted schooner Roseveen, from Bridgewater with bricks.
Cashel, Boyle, O'Connor, Fitzmaurice, Tisdale, Farrell walked as far as Mr. Louis Verner's cheerful windows, then turned and strode back along Merrion Square, his stick-umbrella dustcoat dangling. At the corner of Wilde's house he halted, frowned at Elijah's name announced on the Metropolitan Hall, frowned at the distant pleasance of Duke's Lawn. His eyeglass flashed, frowning in the sun. With rat's teeth bared, he muttered, "Coactus volui." As he strode on for Clare Street, grinding his fierce word, the sway of his dustcoat brushed rudely from its angle a slender tapping cane, and swept onwards, having buffeted a thewless body. The blind stripling turned his sickly face after the striding form. "God's curse on you," he said sourly, "whoever you are. You're blinder nor I am, you bitches bastard."
Opposite Ruggie O'Donoghue's, Master Patrick Aloysius Dignam, pawing the £1.5 of Mangan's, late Fehrenbach's, pork steaks he had been sent for, went along warm Wicklow Street dawdling. It was too bloomin' dull sitting in the parlour with Mrs. Storr and Mrs. Quigley and Mrs. McDowell and the blind down, and they all at their sniffles and sipping sups of the superior tawny sherry Uncle Barney brought from Tunney's, and they eating crumbs of the cottage fruit cake, jawing all the whole bloomin' time and sighing. In Grafton Street, Master Dignam saw a red flower in a toff's mouth and a swell pair of kicks on him. No Sandymouth tram. Master Dignam walked along Nassau Street, shifted the pork steaks to his other hand. His collar sprang up and he tugged it down. The blooming stud was too small for the buttonhole of the shirt. The scrunch that was when they were screwing the screws into the coffin, and the bumps when they were bringing it downstairs. Pa was inside it, and Ma crying in the parlour, and Uncle Barney telling the men how to get it round the bend. Big coffin it was, and high and heavy looking. How was that? The last night Pa was boozed, he was standing on the landing there bawling for his boots to go out to Tunney's for to booze more, and he looked butty and short in his shirt. Never see him again. Death, that is. Pa is dead. My father is dead. He told me to be a good son to Ma. I couldn't hear the other things he said, but I saw his tongue and his teeth trying to say it better. Poor Pa. That was Mr. Dignam, my father. I hope he's in purgatory now, because he went to confession to Father Conroy on Saturday night.
William Humble, Earl of Dudley, and Lady Dudley, accompanied by Lieutenant Colonel Heseltine, drove out after luncheon from the Vice-Regal Lodge. In the following carriage were the Honourable Mrs. Paget, Mr. Kersey, and the Honourable Gerald Ward, ADC, in attendance. The cavalcade passed out by the lower gate of Phoenix Park, saluted by obsequious policemen, and proceeded past Kingsbridge along the northern quays. The Viceroy was most cordially greeted on his way through the metropolis. On Ormond Quay, Mr. Simon Dedalus, steering his way from the greenhouse for the sub-sheriff's office, stood still in mid-street and brought his hat low. His Excellency graciously returned Mr. Dedalus' greeting.
Passing by Roger Green's office and Dollard's big red printing house, Gertie McDowell, carrying the Catesby's cork lino letters for her father, who was laid up, knew by the style it was the Lord and Lady Lieutenant, but she couldn't see what Her Excellency had on because the tram and Spring's big yellow furniture had to stop in front of her on account of it being the Lord Lieutenant.
Beyond Lundy Foots, from the shaded door of Kavanagh's wine rooms, John Wise Nolan smiled with unseen coldness towards the Lord Lieutenant General and Governor of Ireland, the Right Honourable William Humble, Earl of Dudley, GCVO. At Ponsonby's corner, a jaded white flagon H halted, and 4 tall-hatted white flagons halted behind him, ELYS, while outriders pranced past and carriages. Opposite Piggott's music warerooms, Mr. Dennis J. McGinney, professor of dancing, etc., gaily apparelled, gravely walked, outpassed by Viceroy and unobserved. By the provost wall came jauntily Blazes Boylan, stepping in tan shoes and socks with sky-blue clocks to the refrain of My Girl's a Yorkshire Girl. Blazes Boylan presented to the leader's sky-blue frontlets and high action a sky-blue tie, a wide-brimmed straw hat at a rakish angle, and a suit of indigo serge. His hands in jacket pockets, forgot to salute, but offered to the ladies the bold admiration of his eyes and the red flower between his lips. As they drove along Nassau Street, brazen Highland laddies blared and drum-thumped after the cortege. But though she's a factory lass and wears no fancy clothes, bum, yet I've a sort of a Yorkshire relish for my little Yorkshire rose, rum. As the glossy horses pranced by Merrion Square, young Master Patrick Aloysius Dignam, waiting, saw salutes being given by the gent with the topper, and raised also his new black cap, with fingers greased with pork steak paper. His collar, too, sprang up. The Viceroy, on his way to inaugurate the Mirus Bazaar in aid of funds for Mercer's Hospital, drove with his following towards Lower Mount Street. He passed a blind stripling opposite Broadbent's. In Lower Mount Street, a pedestrian in a brown mackintosh, eating dry bread, passed swiftly and unscathed across the Viceroy's path.
The Ormond Hotel, just before 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Bronze by gold, heard the hoof irons, steely ringing.
Ba-ding, ba-ding, chips, picking chips off rocky thumbnail chips.
Oh, horrid! And gold flushed more. Gold pinnacled hair, a jumping rose on satiny breast of satin, Rose of Castile, oh Rose Castile.
Jingle, jingle, jaunty jingling.
Coin rang, clock clacked.
Jingle blue.
Boomed crashing chords when love absorbs, by bronze, by gold, in ocean green of shadow.
Bloom, old Bloom.
One rapped, one tapped, with a cara, with a cock.
Pray for 'em, pray, good people. Done. Begin.
Bronze by gold, Miss Douce's head by Miss Kennedy's head, over the cross-blind of the Ormond bar. Heard the vice-regal hoofs go by, ringing steel. "Is that her?" asked Miss Kennedy. Miss Douce said, "Yes, sitting with his ex, Pearl Grey and Old O'Neill." "Exquisite contrast," Miss Kennedy said.
Blue Who went by Moulang's pipe shop, bearing in his breast the sweets of sin, by Wine's antiques, in memory bearing sweet sinful words, by Carol's dusky battered plate, for Raoul.
"Am I awful sunburnt?" Miss Bronze unbloused her neck. "No," said Miss Kennedy. "It gets brown after. Did you try the borax with the cherry laurel water? Those things only bring out a rash."
But Bloom. By Bassie's Blessed Virgins, Bloom's dark eyes went by. The sweets of sin. Sweet are the sweets of sin.
Teddy giggles. "Oh, greasy eyes, imagine being married to a man like that," she cried, "with his bit of beard." Douce gave vent to a splendid yell, a full yell of full woman, delight, joy, indignation. "Married to Greasy Nose," she yelled. "Oh, saints above," Miss Douce said, sighed above her jumping rose. "I wish I hadn't laughed so much. I feel all wet." "Oh, Miss Douce," Miss Kennedy protested, "you horrid thing."
By Cantrell's offices roved Greaser Bloom. At 4, she said. Time ever passing, clock hands turning. On. Where eat? The sweets of sin. Into their bar strode Mr. Dedalus Senior, picking chips off one of his rocky thumbnails. He strolled. "Oh, welcome back, Miss Douce." He held her hand. "Enjoyed her holidays?" "Tip-top." He hoped she had nice weather in Rostrevor. "Gorgeous," she said. "Look at the holy show I am, lying out on the strand all day." Bronze whiteness. "That was exceedingly naughty of you," Mr. Dedalus told her, and pressed her hand indulgently. "Tempting poor simple males." Miss Douce of Satin deuced her arm away. "Oh, go away, you're very simple, I don't think." He was. "And what did the doctor order today?" "Well now," he mused, "whatever you say yourself. I think I'll trouble you for some fresh water and a half-glass of whiskey." Jingle. In came Lenihan. Mr. Bloom reached Essex Bridge. "To Martha I must write, by paper. Dailies. Girl there, Sybil. Bloom, old Bloom. Blue Bloom is on the rye.
Lenehan came forward. "Was Mr. Boylan looking for me?" he asked. She answered, "No, he was not." He greeted Mr. Dedalus and got a nod. "Greetings from the famous son of a famous father." "Who may that be?" Mr. Dedalus asked. Lenehan opened most genial arms. "Who? Stephen, the youthful bard. I quaffed a nectar bowl with him this very day," said Lenehan, "in Mooney's Anvil and Mooney's Sore Mare." He had received the rhino for the labour of his muse. After an interval, Mr. Dedalus raised his grog. "That must have been highly diverting." He drank. He moved towards the saloon door. "I see you have moved the piano." "The tuner was in today," Miss Douce replied, "tuning it for the smoking concert, and I never heard such an exquisite player." "Is that a fact?" "Didn't he, Miss Kennedy? The real classical, you know. And blind, too, poor fella. Not 20, I'm sure he was." "Is that a fact?" Mr. Dedalus said. He drank and strayed away. "So sad to look at his face," Miss Douce condoled. To the door of the bar and dining room came bald Pat, came bothered Pat, came Pat, waiter of Ormond. Lager for Dinah. Lager without alacrity she served.
2 sheets green vellum paper, 1 reserved, 2 envelopes, Wise Bloom and Henry Daly's bought. For Raoul. He eyed and saw afar on Essex Bridge a gay hat riding on a jaunting car. It is, again, coincidence. Jingling on supple rubbers, it jaunted from the bridge to Ormond Quay. Follow, risk it, go quick. At 4. Near now. Out. At 2 pence, sir, the shop girl dared to say. Aha, I was forgetting. Excuse, and 4. At 4, she.
From the saloon, call came, long in dying. That was a tuning fork the tuner had that he forgot, that he now struck. It throbbed purer, softly and softlier, its buzzing prongs, longer in dying call. A voiceless song sang from within, singing, "The bright stars fade." A duodene of bird notes chirruped bright answer under sensitive hands, the keys harpsichording. A jingle jaunted by the curb and stopped. Blazes Boylan's smart tan shoes creaked on the bar floor where he strode. Lenehan heard and knew and hailed him. "See, the conquering hero comes."
Between the car and the window, warily walking, went Bloom, unconquered hero. See me he might. The seat he sat on, warm. Black, wary he-cat walked towards Richard Goulding's legal bag, lifted aloft, saluting.
"I heard you were round," said Blazes Boylan. Smart Boylan bespoke portions. "What's your cry? Glass of bitter?" "Glass of bitter, please, and a slow gin for me. Wire in yet?" "Not yet."
At 4, she? Who said 4? What is he doing in the Ormond? Hello, where off to? Something to eat? I too was just in here. What Ormond, best value in Dublin? Is that so? Dining room, sit tight there, see, not be seen. I think I'll join you, come on. Richie led on, Bloom followed bag. Dinner fit for a prince.
Miss Douce reached high to take a flagon, stretching her satin arm, her bust, that all but burst, so high. Oh, jerked Lenehan, gasping at each stretch. Oh! Neatly she poured the syrupy slow. "Here's fortune," Blazes said. He pitched a broad coin down. Coin rang. Clock clacked. "What time is that?" asked Blazes Boylan. 4.
A clock. The bag of Goulding Collis Ward led Bloom by rye bloom flowered tables. Aimless he chose with agitated aim, ball pat attending a table near the door. Be near. At 4. Has he forgotten? Perhaps a trick. Not come. Whet appetite. I couldn't do. Wait. Pat, waiter, waited.
Bending, she taunted them. Bending, suspending, with wilful eyes. Boylan tossed to his fat lips his chalice, drank off his chalice, tiny, sucking the last fat, violet, syrupy drops. "I'm off," said Boylan with impatience. He slid his chalice, brisk away, grasped his change. Lenehan gulped to go. "Got the horn or what?" he said. "Wait, I'm coming." He followed the hasty, creaking shoes, but stood by nimbly on the threshold, saluting. "How do you do, Mr. Dollard?" "Eh? Oh, how do?" Mr. Dollard's vague bass answered. Sighing, Mr. Dedalus came through the saloon, a finger soothing an eyelid. "Oh-ho!" Ben Dollard yodeled jollily. "Come on, Simon, give us a ditty. We heard the piano." Bald Pat, bothered waiter, waited for drink orders. Power for Richie.
And Bloom? Let me see. 4 now. Let me see. Cider. Yeah, a bottle of cider.
"What's that?" Mr. Dedalus said. Jingle jaunted down the quays. Blazes sprawled on bounding tires.
Liver and bacon, steak and kidney pie. Right, sir. Right, Pat. Pat served uncovered dishes. Leopold cut liver slices. As said before, he ate with relish the inner organs, nutty gizzards, fried cod's roes, while Richie Goulding, Collis, Ward ate steak and kidney. Steak, then kidney, bite by bite of pie he ate. Bloom ate, they ate. Bloom with Goulding, married in silence, ate. Dinner's fit for princes.
By Bachelor's Walk, jog, jaunty, jingled Blazes Boylan, bachelor, Boylan impatient, ardent, bold, horn, have you the horn, have you the horn?
In liver gravy, Bloom mashed potatoes.
Jiggity jingle, jaunty. Mr. Dedalus laid his pipe to rest beside the tuning fork, and sitting, touched the obedient keys.
Steak, kidney, liver mashed, but meat fit for princes, sat Princes Bloom and Goulding.
Dollard urged the lingering singer out with it. "With it, Simon. Ladies and gentlemen, I am most deeply obliged by your kind solicitations. I have no money, but if you will lend me your attention, I shall endeavour to sing to you of a heart bowed down."
The harping chords of the prelude closed. A chord long drawn, expectant, drew a voice away. "When first I saw that form endearing..." Richie turned. "Cy Dedalus' voice," he said. "Sorrow from me seemed to depart." Through the hush of air a voice sang to them, low, not rain, not leaves in murmur, touching their still ears with words, still hearts of their each is remembered lives. For all of hope, and all delighted. Jingle all delighted. Perfume for him. What perfume does your wife? I want to know. Jing, stop, knock. Louse look at mirror always before she answers the door. The hall. There? How do you? I do well. There? What? Yes? Alas, the voice rose, sighing, changed, loud, full, shining, proud. But, alas, 'twas idle dreaming. Glorious tone he has still. Cork air softer also their brogue. Silly man could have made oceans of money. Martha it is. Coincidence. Just going to write. I called you naughty boy. Still the name, Martha. How strange. Today. Martha, ah, Martha. Quitting all languor, Lionel cried in grief. Come, thou lost one. Come, thou dear one. Alone, one love, one hope, one comfort me. Martha, chestnut, return. Come! It soared, a bird, it held its flight, a swift, pure cry. Soar, silver orb, it leaped serene, soaring high, high, resplendent, a flame-crowned. High in the effulgent symbolistic, high of the ethereal bosom, high of the high, vast irradiation everywhere, all soaring, all around about the all, the endlessness, to me, consumed. Well sung, all clapped. Bravo! Clap, clap, good man Simon. Clap, clap, clap. Encore! Clap, clip, clap, clap. Sound as a bell. Bravo, Simon. Clap, clop, clap. Encore, on clap, said, cried, clapped all. Slower, the mare went up the hill by the rotunda, Rutland Square. Too slow for Boylan, Blazes Boylan, impatient Boylan, joggled the mare. Jingle into Dorset Street. Better write it here. Quills in the post office chewed and twisted. Bald Pat at a sign drew nigh. A pen and ink. He went. A pad. He went. A pad to blot, he heard Death Pat. Grandest number in the whole opera, Goulding said. It is, Mr. Bloom said. Bald Death Pat brought quite flat pad ink. Pat set with ink pen quite flat pad. Pat took plate, dish, knife, fork. Pat went. Dear Henry wrote, Dear Maddie, got your let and flow. How did I put some pock or other? It is utterly underline impos, to write today. Bore this. Bored Bloom, tambourine gently, with I am just reflecting fingers, on flat pad, Pat brought. Folly am I writing? If I'm found out. Sauce for the gander.
A young gentleman, stylishly dressed in an indigo blue serge suit made by George Robert Messias, tailor and cutter of No. 5 Eden Quay, and wearing a straw hat, very dressy, bought of John Plasto of No. 1 Great Brunswick Street, hatter. This is the jingle that joggled and jingled.
Answering an ad? Keen Richie's eyes asked Bloom. Yes, Mr. Bloom said. Town traveller. Nothing doing, I expect. Better add postscript. What is he playing now? Improvising. Intermezzo. P.S. How will you pun? You punish me. Tell me I want to. No. Trails off there, sad in minor. Why minor sad? Sign H. They like sad tail at end. P.P.S. I feel so sad today. So lonely. He blotted quick on pad of Pat. Envel, address. Henry wrote, Miss Martha Clifford, C.O., P.O., Dolphin's Barn Lane, Dublin.
Jingle, jingle, jog, jig, jogged, stopped. Dandy tan shoe of Dandy Boylan. Socks, sky blue clocks, came light to earth. One rapped on a door, one tapped with a knock. Did he knock with a loud, proud knocker, with a cock, cara, cock, cock. Tap. Give us Queef Daniel, Ben. No, Ben, Tom Kiernan interfered. The croppy boy, our native Doric. I do, Ben, Mr. Dedalus said. Good men and true. Do, they begged in one.
I'll go. Here, Pat, how much?
What key? 6 sharps? F sharp major, Ben Dollard said.
I must go, Prince Bloom told Richie Prince. No, Richie said. Yes, must. Got money somewhere. Much. Pat, see, here's lip speech. 1 and 9. Penny for yourself. Here. Give him 2p tip. Death bothered. But perhaps he has a wife and family waiting. Patty come home. But wait, but hear. Chords dark, lugubrious, low. In a cave of the dark middle earth, embedded ore, lump music. The voice of a dark age, of unlove, come from afar, from hoary mountains, called on all good men and true, the croppy boy. Bum 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 bum, dee 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 dee. The priest he sought. Tap. Ben Dollard's voice, bass barrel tone, croak of vast, manless, moonless marsh. Other come down. Big ship's chandler's business he did once, remember? Rosany rope, ship's lanterns. Failed to the tune of £10,000. Now in the Ivy home, cubicle number so-and-so. Number 1 Bass did that for him. The priest's at home. A false priest's servant bade him welcome, a traitor servant. The voice of warning, solemn warning, told them the youth had entered a lonely hall, the gloomy chamber, the vested priest sitting to shrive. Good voice he has still, no eunuch, yet with all his belongings. Listen. Bloom listened, Richie Goulding listened, and by the door, Death Pat, Bald Pat, Tipped Pat listened. Tap. They listened. The sighing voice of sorrow sang. His sins. Since Easter he had cursed 3 times, and once at mass time he had gone to play. Once by the churchyard he had passed, and for his mother's rest he had not prayed. A boy, a croppy boy. Bronze, listening by the beer pool, gazed far away, soulfully. All gone, all fallen. At the siege of Ross his father, at Gorey all his brothers fell. To Wexford he would, last of his name and race. I too, last of my race, merely young student. Well, my fault perhaps. No son, Rudy, too late now. Or if not, if still. He bore no hate. Hate, love, those are names, broody. Soon I am old. Time to be shoving. Bless me, father, Dollard the croppy boy cried. Bless me and let me go.
Tap.
Bloom looked unblessed to go. Low sank the music, air and words. Then hastened the false priest, rustling soldier from his cassock, a yeoman captain. They know it all by heart, the thrill they itch for, yeoman cap.
Tap, tap.
With hoarse, rude fury the yeoman cursed, swelling in apoplectic. 1 hour's your time to live, your last.
Tap, tap.
Thrill now, pity they feel, for all things dying, for all things born. Poor Mrs. Purifoy, hope she's over. Get out before end. Thanks, that was heavenly. Where's my hat? Well, I must be... Bloom stood up, soap feeling rather sticky behind. That lotion, remember. Well, so long. By deaf pat in the doorway, straining ear, Bloom passed. At Geneva barrack, that young man died. At passage was his body laid. By rose, by satiny bosom, by slops, by empties, past bronze and faint gold in deep sea shadow went Bloom, soft Bloom, I feel so lonely Bloom.
Tap, tap, tap.
Pray for him, prayed the base of Dollard. He was a croppy boy. Bloom in the ormond hallway heard the growls and the roars of bravo, fat backslapping. General chorus, off for a swill to wash it down. Glad I avoided. Bloom felt wind wound round inside. Gassy thing, that cider. Binding, too.
Tap, 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 tap.
Up the quay went Lionel Leopold, naughty Henry with letter for Maddie. With sweets of sin went Poldy on.
Tap.
Blind walked, tapping by the tap, the curbstone tapping, tap by tap.
I feel I want...
Tap, 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 tap. A stripling, blind, with tapping cane, came tap, tap, tapping by Daly's window.
I must really... A frowsy whore with black straw sailor hat askew came glazily in the day along the quay towards Mr. Bloom. In Lionel Marks's antique sale shop window, Henry Lionel Leopold, dear Henry Flower, earnestly Mr. Leopold Bloom, envisaged battered candlesticks. Let her pass. She's passing now. Must be the cider, or perhaps Burgund.
Tap.
A youth entered a lonely Ormond hall.
Bloom viewed a gallant pictured hero in Lionel Marks's window. Robert Emmett's last words. 7 last words.
Tip. An unseeing stripling stood in the door. He saw not bronze, he saw not gold, nor Ben, nor Tom, nor Si, nor George, nor Richie, nor Pat. He did not see.
Sea Bloom, Greaser Bloom viewed last words softly. When my country takes her place among... must be... nations of the earth. No one behind, she's past. Then, and not till then... Cran, 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 cran. Good upper, coming. Cran. I'm sure it's the Burgundy. Yes, 1, 2. Let my epitaph be written. I have done.